Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. Alright guys, as you know, we have been driving together on this channel for about 7 months and watching the left, exactly what they're doing. Not only the what, but the why. And we've got another why for you tonight. I'm pretty sure we've discovered a pattern developing, but I want to know what you guys think. Is this going to be a pattern? Am I onto something? And am I not? I mean, just tell me I'm not. I'm just seeing unicorns in the sky. It's totally cool. I get it. But I think we're onto a pattern. Now, if you recall, earlier this month, we talked about King Cuomo up in New York. You know, Governor Cuomo, for those of you who actually respect freedom and the rule of law. He came out and he issued an executive order basically declaring an emergency declaration around gun violence and as a public health crisis. We covered it extensively on this channel. I know a lot of other YouTubers did, and we all did a pretty good job being on it. But there was something that was really important, is where is it going to go after that? What is being modeled? Because we talk about on this channel a lot that far left blue cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York, they always put out their little breeding ground for ideas for gun control in those areas because they're fully controlled by the left and they don't have any resistance, so they can test them out there. That's an indoctrination center. It's always been that way. Well, this is no different, but it's spreading to Philadelphia. But there's some resistance from the Philadelphians. Philadelphians? Whatever, those that live in Philadelphia. I'm going to walk you through 3 articles and then tie it together because there are 2 things that this is trying to achieve from the left. Number 1, they're trying to counter the defund the police movement, which they funded hardcore all year long last year because crime was on the rise and so was gun violence, so they got to get by it. Then the other one is they are trying to appear like they're actually doing something because the legislatures across the country are mostly Republican. And if they can't get it legislatively, they're going to do it through executive order because that's how these people work. It's their MO. But check out these 3 articles, and it's aimed at the mayor of Philadelphia because they wanted the Democratic mayor of Philadelphia to do this, but he didn't. Here we go. Mayor Jim Kenney won't declare a state of emergency over gun violence in Philadelphia. Here's number 2. Kenney won't declare a citywide emergency for Philly's gun violence. And my personal favorite, a little bit of flair. City leaders at war after Mayor Kenney declines emergency declaration for Philadelphia's gun violence problem. Okay, so you got a gun violence problem situation, so obviously the Democrats want you to take full control of the environment, even though gun control does not work at all. This is what they're modeling it after. Andrew Cuomo, like I said, after Governor Andrew Cuomo issued the first in the nation executive order declaring gun violence in New York as a disaster emergency earlier this month, some wondered if Kenney would follow suit and declare one of his own for Philadelphia. Some wondered. That means Democrats wanted him to. Okay? So this is what actually happened, and this is what Kenney did, and this is why he pissed off all the Democrats in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, to be honest. With the city on pace to have its deadliest year on record, Mayor Jim Kenney said he doesn't plan on declaring a citywide emergency for Philadelphia's surging gun violence, arguing that a declaration would have no impact in strengthening his administration's current anti-violence initiatives. While Kenney acknowledged that calls for a disaster or emergency declaration are meant to unlock additional resources, just like Cuomo, he also said that the city had already done so by allocating over $150 million to gun violence prevention in the recently approved 2022 budget. Now, what he's saying is correct. We put $150 million into these anti-violence initiatives for the budget through the legislature. But they, in Democratic-controlled Philadelphia, want him to do it through executive powers, just like they do Cuomo. And this is going to start spreading. You're going to see it in Chicago, you're going to see it in Los Angeles, San Diego, Washington, Portland, all of these places. You're going to start to see this push for executive power grabs. And I bet you, I'm pretty certain it's going to happen over the course of the next few months because you're going to start seeing it more and more and more. Judging by their reaction here, we're going to walk into it. It looks like that's the way they're leaning. Now, this is the last thing he said, which kind of irritated people. That said, a disaster or emergency declaration would have no discernible impact on strengthening what is already a highly collaborative and innovative approach to addressing this public health crisis, Kenney wrote. Now, he said public health crisis, so he's trying to placate his base, but they weren't having it. Listen to what they said. So Kenney, mayor of Philadelphia, sent a letter to city council member Jamie Gauthier, who for months has been pushing the administration to declare an emergency and treat gun violence as a public health crisis. Now that's the other piece here they've been pushing really hard. They've done it in New York, they just did it in Colorado, they've done it in Los Angeles, they've done it in San Diego, they've done it in Chicago, and they're doing it all in the left cities. Everything is becoming, in fact, actually nationally democratic. everything is becoming, gun violence is a health crisis. And we talked about it. You can do reconciliation bills that way. You can redefine it. You can unlock more funds, and you can really do the things you want by circumventing everything. That's what's happening here. But he didn't do it, so that's why they're angry. Gauthier called Kenney's decision an abdication of responsibility and a reflection of just how disconnected the mayor and his administration is from the actual reality that people in our communities are living through every day. So what they're going after here is they are trying to punish any Democratic leader in a city or a state who is not going to do what they want. There's no reason that they would have to do executive action on the mayoral level in Philadelphia when you can go through the legislature, just like he said, for $150 million. In fact, in New York, you do the same thing, but he went ahead and did an executive order, King Cuomo. He can do what he wants. He now has streamlined power. He has access to more funds, and there's less things in the way, like, I don't know, the legislature, the representative of the people, to stop him from what he wants to get done. They've also started putting things in Colorado underneath the public health department. They're doing that all over, but this is a concerted effort, and you're going to start seeing this all over. The reaction that they're having, the media is flipping out on him. The Democratic council members are flipping out on him. They are going nuts because they want this to go mainstream because they're seeing it as an opportunity to grab more power. And honestly, in 2022, they know what's going to come their way. So they're trying to say, no, we did something. We declared a disaster emergency. We unlocked more funds. We were tough on crime, even though we defunded the police for a year. That's what they're trying to do. Don't let them get away with it, guys. And I want to know what you think. Is this something that we're onto? And which city do you think is next? I look forward to hearing from you. Until tomorrow, I'm Braden. See you later.